10 years. 10 long years since the world ended. It all started with a single experiment, a trial gone horribly wrong, a domino effect that took everyone's breath away, and then their lives. The Agent Zero Project, they called it. A cure for everything, they promised. Instead, it created an incurable plague. For a decade, humanity has been on the brink. Just a few desperate survivors against a world of the dead. But one man saw it coming. A scientist, a visionary some called mad, who retreated to a cave years before the fall, preparing for this exact moment. After a decade of isolation, studying, and planning, he finally emerged from the darkness. He wasn't just another survivor. He was humanity's last hope. He had a plan, a blueprint for an antidote. But he understood something no one else did. To beat the enemy, you have to understand them. You needed to study the zombies, learn their patterns, their logic, if any remained. He couldn't do it alone. He needed a warrior, someone who could carve a path through the hordes. He needed a samurai. And as if by fate, one answered the call. A modern-day Ronin, his blade the only law left in this broken world. Together, this unlikely duo of the brain and the brawn set out on an impossible mission. Gather the ingredients for the cure. Their quest was a living nightmare. They fought through swarms of the undead, a relentless 10-hour battle that tested every ounce of their will. They scavenged through desolate cities, raided abandoned labs, and finally, their journey led them to a last-ditch supply drop from a cargo plane. As they made a daring jump from the aircraft, soaring over a sea of grasping hands, the scientists saw her. Amidst the decay and the horror, she was beautiful. A zombie, yes, but there was something in her vacant eyes, a ghost of the person she once was. In that single, heart-stopping moment, he fell in love. The samurai was horrified. "She's one of them! You can't be serious!" He pleaded, his hand on his sword, but the scientist was deaf to reason. Love, or what he thought was love, had consumed him. "I can save her," he declared, his eyes filled with a feverish determination. "She's the reason for all of this. I have to bring her back." Against all logic, the samurai reluctantly agreed to help, his loyalty to the mission and his strange new friend overriding his better judgment. They captured her, a risky and near-fatal endeavor. The scientist worked tirelessly, mixing the volatile components, his hands shaking with both fear and excitement. He administered the antidote, a single needle that held the weight of his heart and the future of the world. Then they waited. Slowly, miraculously, the change began. The gray, lifeless skin regained its color. The cloudy eyes cleared, and for the first time in years, a spark of true consciousness returned. She was cured. She had her mind back, her memories, her soul. The scientist, overwhelmed with joy, confessed his feelings. He told her how he'd fallen for her, how he'd saved her, how they were meant to be. He expected gratitude, affection, maybe even love in return. Instead, he was met with confusion, then fear, and finally, rejection. She looked at him not as a savior, but as a stranger, a madman who had kept her captive. She didn't want him. Something inside the scientist shattered. The hope that had fueled him for a decade, the love that had driven him to the brink, it all curdled into pure, venomous rage. If she wouldn't have him, if the world he tried to save rejected him, then the world deserved to burn. His heartbreak became a new kind of plague. "If I can't have her," he screamed, his face twisted in a mask of despair, "then no one can. I'll turn you all back. You'll all be monsters, just like you made me feel." He had become the new villain, the savior turned destroyer. He planned to reverse his work, to unleash a stronger, faster version of the virus, to ensure the world remained in its zombified state forever. The final confrontation was inevitable. The scientist, now armed with his own twisted creations, faced off against his former ally. It was a brutal fight, science versus steel, a broken heart versus a stoic soul. Just as the battle reached its peak, the Cure Girl appeared, but she wasn't alone. She was with the samurai. And in the middle of this apocalyptic war zone, in a moment of defiant love, they kissed. It was a symbol of the new world they would build, a world the scientists could never be a part of. Seeing them together, seeing the happiness he craved given to another, was the final blow. The scientist let out a final agonizing cry of rage and sorrow. All the volatile energy, the twisted science, the raw emotional power he'd held within himself, it became unstable. In a blinding flash of light, he simply exploded. His broken dream and broken heart vaporized into nothingness. Silence fell. The samurai and the girl stood together, watching the dust settle. The war was over. The villain was gone. It wasn't the ending anyone could have predicted, but for them, standing hand in hand amidst the ruins, it was a new beginning. A happily ever after, written in the ashes of the old world. Thanks for watching.